because your father and grandfather's generation lived a hard life. Very few people had homes of their own. In Chinatown, you have cubicles, 8 or 10 people in the room sharing 4 bunks because they do shift work, save money. So Lim Kim Sang, who built our HDB flats, once went to a Chinatown cubicle, and the man covered himself with a blanket. Pretty warm. So I said, "Why are you with a blanket?" He said, "Because my friend is using my trousers." This is a real story. It's not one of these fanciful creations of his own. Then he understood how poor we were. Your father and grandfather's generation lived a hard life. Very few people had homes of their own. In Chinatown, you have
the heart of Singapore's finance scene.
This tiny island is smaller than New York City, yet its people earn more than Americans, Brits, or the French. Singapore's GDP per capita just crossed $92,900. That's higher than the US. But back in 1965, Singapore had almost nothing. No oil, no farmland, not even its own clean water. So how did it become one of the richest countries on earth? It all started with Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore's first prime minister, who took charge after independence and transformed the country's future. He built a clean government, a strong legal system, and efficient infrastructure. Then came low taxes and business-friendly rules. Today, over 4,200 multinational companies run their Asia headquarters here. And Singapore now manages over $2.7 trillion in global assets. But with a new prime minister in power and growing concerns over inequality and rising living costs, many wonder, can Singapore stay rich, or has its golden age already peaked? Let us know what you think in the comments. This tiny island is smaller than New York City, yet its people earn more than Americans, Brits, or the French. Singapore's GDP per capita just crossed 92,000.
Malaysia. At that time, Malaysia did not want to take responsibility. Did you know Singapore was once an extremely poor and dirty part of Malaysia? In August 1965, Singapore was kicked out from Malaysia. At that time, Malaysia did not want to take responsibility of Singapore because Singapore was just a tiny island with extremely poor and illiterate Chinese majority population. Singapore had no farmland, no oil, no minerals, and virtually no industry. Singapore was a problem for Malaysia. Lee Kuan Yew, the Prime Minister of Singapore, was badly hurt by Malaysia's decision. Lee cried on television in 1965 when announcing Singapore's separation from Malaysia. The moment was described as a moment of anguish for him, as it marked the end of a dream of merger and the beginning of an uncertain future for Singapore. It was his uncompromising, honest, and iron-fist leadership that later transformed Singapore from one of the world's poorest nations into one of the richest. Lee Kuan Yew united all Singaporeans regardless of their race and religion. Singaporeans became extremely disciplined, well-educated, well-trained to work. Foreign investment started coming in billions of dollars. Foreign companies set up their factories in Singapore, and well-trained Singaporean technicians, engineers, workers served these foreign companies, which in return contributed to build the Singaporean economy. Lee made sure everyone in Singapore had a job and a house. Lee made sure there was no corruption in Singapore. The laws in Singapore was strictly implemented to mitigate crime rate to almost zero. Singapore soon turned into a clean, peaceful, developed country. By 2024, Singapore's GDP per capita reached over $90,000 per person. surpassing the United States at 85,000 US dollars and completely overshadowing its neighbors, Malaysia, 12,000 US dollars, and Indonesia, 5,000 US dollars. Singapore went from a poor, dirty, resource-starved third world country to the richest nation on earth. This is the power of an honest man who truly loved his country, refused to give up, believed in his people, and built the Singaporean dream. Did you know Singapore was once an extremely poor and dirty part of Malaysia?
Financial planning. Poor life expectancy increased. According to the latest figures, a baby born in Singapore in 2025 can expect to live 83. Poor life expectancy increased. According to the latest figures, a baby born in poor life expectancy increased. According to the latest figures, a baby born in Singapore in 2025 can expect to live 83.9 years. Men are expected to live 81.8 years. Women are expected to live 86 years. That is objectively good news. Longer lives usually mean better healthcare, better living conditions, and a higher chance of growing old. Singaporeans are living longer than they were a decade ago. Most countries would celebrate. Singaporeans probably celebrated too, for about 3 seconds. Then the practical questions arrived. Living longer sounds wonderful, until somebody asks how much money is needed to live those extra years. More food, more healthcare, more retirement savings, more years of making sure the money lasts as long as the person. That is the strange thing about good news. The longer people live, the longer the financial planning becomes. So while statisticians were announcing that Singaporeans are expected to live longer, many Singaporeans were probably doing what Singaporeans do best: calculating how much more savings, how much more retirement planning, how much more everything. Because in Singapore, even good news eventually becomes mathematics. Now, where's the calculator?
Hey, hello friend, we come to the end already. Have you subscribed yet? Yes, press the subscribe button and the like button and the share button. Thank you and have a nice day.